than private loans. Loans taken out by parents are called plus loans. Those are also direct loans, okay? You have to pass a credit check. The money for Stafford and plus loans go to the school. Parents have the choice of starting to repay their plus loans after 60 days or after 6 months after the student's no longer going to school half-time. Okay, that's a lot, but remember I told you go look online. I'm trying to give you this. You're going to fill in the dots, the blanks for yourself. Congress, and I have to admit, in large part because of Congressman George Miller, has really stepped up lately. They're lowering the subsidized student loan rates through 2011. This year, the rate's already dropped to 5.6%. They're capping repayment levels of these direct subsidized loans to 15% of discretionary income. And after 25 years with a good payment record, your debt's forgiven. You have to keep the payment up, but it's no more than 15% of your discretionary income. So in the first 5 years, let's say your very basics, and there's a formula the federal government gives for you, eats up $20,000 of your $25,000 income. You know, your first job, you're making almost nothing. Well, okay, so then 15% of what's left is what you pay. But then you're making $200,000 30 years later. And your discretionary income, based on the formulas, might be as much as $100,000. So you pay 15% of that. It's fair. And when you've done it on time, every month, for 25 years, you don't pay anymore. Now, the other kinds of loans, besides the federally backed loans, the direct loans, Stafford Plus, okay, you got those? Are private loans. They're from special student lenders like Sallie Mae. They're more expensive than federal loans. Try whatever you can to use the cheaper loans before you go to these. And if you use them, shop around, compare rates. There's lots of student lenders, okay? Do not borrow more than you need thinking, oh, I can use it for thus and so, because it is going to bite you in the end, all right? Be very careful with these. And you know, it's amazing. I read something, I can't remember the exact percentage, but there are actually, we're not too long before the end, there are actually more people borrowing these expensive federal loans than need to because they don't even look at the others. And I'll tell you why in a minute. It's our hot ending. Okay, all right, now the process of looking for a college and trying to determine what you can afford should start by the beginning of your child's junior year in high school. By the summer before senior year, you should be asking for college educations, financial aid information, but here's something I didn't know when I was going to school. Do both of these things at the same time. If you want to go to a college and you want a catalog from that college, you can also go to the financial aid office and say, I also want financial aid information, because how in the world are you going to be able to make a decision about what college you can afford if you don't know what's out there, right? The colleges know this. The college financial aid officers are overworked, underpaid, the most wonderful people. They are terrific people because their whole goal is to get as much money out for students to attend their university as possible. And they really have the students' interest at heart. I have to say, this is not an advertisement. I know we're here at the USF Center, but USF's Peter Wong, and you're right, he's magnificent. He is smart as a whip. And, you know, he'll find a way to get a kid through USF, come hell or high water. He's great. Anyway, so you have to do both of those at the same time. After January of your senior year, start working on the free application for financial student aid. You know this FAFSA? That's what that is. That's the free application for financial student aid. It determines your eligibility for loans, federal grants, work study, and state aid. It's a must. You must do this. It's due in June. My parents didn't want to give this information to the federal government. My father was too proud. I'll pay for my children. Oh, if only he'd known. All right, you can do it on paper. You can do it online. You have to complete your income tax return, though, before you turn this in. So here's what you need for the FAFSA. You need a social security number, a driver's license, your salary records, the W-2, your tax return, bank statements, mortgage, business, and investment records, and if you're not a citizen, your alien registration or permanent resident card. This is serious business, okay? The reason I gave you this list wasn't for you to write it down, but understand, you are making a financial pledge in much the same way you do when you buy a home and you take on a mortgage, Okay? It's serious business because it means serious money, not only that you'll be borrowing, but that your child can make in their lifetime. So it's important that you do all of this. Once this stuff is turned in, it goes into a processing center. In about 4 weeks, you get a student aid report. It's called SAR. On the right-hand corner, you'll see how much the family contribution number is and all of that. The FAFSA that I'm talking about, this application opens the door to grants and scholarships. Again, Congress has stepped up. It's boosted Pell Grants for undergraduates to $5,300. That's $600 more than they were last year. It's created Teach Grants. This is a new one, to give tuition assistance to undergraduates who promise to teach in high poverty areas in high need subjects. So if you go into public service, there's another kind of grant. For if you stay in public service for 10 straight years and you pay your loans during that time, goodbye debt. Your student loan is forgiven. So what this is doing is saying, look, we know that people want to be in their heart a social worker or a teacher, but they don't make as much as some guy on Wall Street who figured out a way to cheat the mortgage companies, right? So everybody's got to go and try to make as much money as they can. And we know that if you have student debt, you're going to be less likely to become a teacher or a social worker, which we really need. So what they're doing is setting it up to make it more cost efficient for you to do what your heart tells you is right. It's a great idea. Again, thanks to Congress, the economic stimulus plan, in this case, the President's plan, tuition-paying parents can get a bigger credit for educational expenses. There's something called the American Opportunity Tax Credit. You get $2,500 a year, up from $1,500. You can claim it over 4 years. Even if you make $180,000 a year, okay, you get at least a partial credit on this, because people recognize you're living in an expensive area. You can't live on $12,000 in San Francisco. You can't send a child to school if you're making $25,000. And if you have more than one kid, you can barely live on $50,000. So they recognize that, you know, anywhere from $50,000 on to about $180,000, you really are still going to need some help in sending your kid to school. And what's more, now you can deduct all or part of the interest you pay on a student loan, up to $2,500, depending on your income. So, you know, if a student has a student loan and is paying interest on it, up to $2,500, totally deductible on their income taxes. If a parent is doing it, if they make under $180,000, they get at least a partial deduction. So it's not bad. When it comes to scholarships, first look locally. Check with your high school counselor, your State Department of Higher Education, with colleges. Go online for scholarship research. FastWeb, Sally Mae. Check out the College Board Scholarship Handbook. Okay, I'll say that again. You go to fastweb.com or Sally Mae, SALLIEMAE. There's the College Board Scholarship Handbook. Your college counselor can help you with scholarships. High school counselors somewhat. There's all kinds of stuff. Membership organization, even employers. The Rotary Club, the Lions Club, the Odd Fellows, Knights of Columbus, labor unions, the League of United Latin American Citizens, police, fire departments. If your child wants to go into fire or forest management and fire suppression, check out, you know, the firefighters. Companies such as Coca-Cola, Intel, and others provide scholarships. ROTC programs, national merits, Gates Millennium. There are even scholarships for golf caddies.
Yeah.
You know, go figure. And right here, right now, let's get rid of some myths. You know, the economy may stink, but there's still a lot of help out there. I mean, you just have to work